Get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back for some more creepy tales on a wonderful October evening, quickly becoming an October night. Thought I was coming from this side of the camera with the eyeball, didn't you? Because the chair was here. Used to have people comment that they always like to try to guess which side of the camera my eyeball would come from. So I try to change it up about once every 6 months. That was your once for the 6 months period. All right, so I'm going to do this at random tonight. We're having a lot of fun reading stories submitted by viewers from the most recent True Hauntings volume 4, available in print or Kindle on Amazon. Here's one, High Heels by Darcy Rogers. Let's read this one. If you've got any strange experiences that you believe to be paranormal, supernatural, any experiences with cryptids like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or whatnot, submit them to us here at the channel. The email address is crazylake@mail.com. Give us your permission to use them. We'll read them on the channel, put them in the upcoming volume of True Hauntings. All right, High Heels, submitted by Darcy Rogers. Hi, Mr. Lake. I love this series you've started. I discovered it on Amazon when looking for something just like it. You know what? I read this story already this October. That's the problem with picking stories at random. You sometimes read. I don't want to do that. All right, so let's go to Ghost Cobbler, submitted by Aaron Holmes of Georgia, formerly Arkansas. Hi, Kevin. I want to thank you for all of the videos you make on your YouTube channel, Homesteading Off the Grid. I know your channel has nothing to do with homesteading. Well, sometimes. But I like it how it has to do with life. Well, sometimes. And at other times, it's Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or ghosts, or well, whatever you want it to be about. It reminds me of one of those old-timey variety shows. You just never know what you're going to get, and that's what makes it interesting. Thank you. I just make videos about whatever I want. I can't even remember why we called it Homesteading Off the Grid. I don't know. We wanted to be farmers or something and failed miserably at it, but people just kept watching the videos because they just liked it, so thank God it now enables us to be able to buy food because we're not very good at growing and raising it. I haven't read all of your books, but I've read most of them. One of my favorite stories from you is the story Berries of Our Elders, which appeared in one of your October Nights books. By the way, I hope you write another of those. They make October and Halloween so much more fun. Well, and so do viewers like you who submit your stories to, hey, a spooky story's a spooky story, right? Anyway, I think the reason I like that story so much is because I have my own elderberry story. I want to share it with you, and you have my full permission to use it in any way you'd like. You can read it on your YouTube channel, or you can print it in one of your books. I don't care. So here's the deal. When I was young, about 10 or 12 years old, there was an old woman who lived on the outskirts of our town. She had to be 90 years old. Her name was Emma. We called her Miss Emma. As you passed Miss Emma's house, you didn't head toward anywhere else. The road just ended about a mile past where she lived. The state maintained it to that point, and then they didn't. What continued from that point was just an old, overgrown trail that at one point used to actually be a railroad track. It was never a major railway, rather just a bit of rails that went to the top of the mountain. The purpose of the rails was to haul timber off the top of the mountain, and this, of course, goes back about 100 years. Anyway, like many people who grew up in my part of the world, Arkansas, and back when I was growing up, I'm a baby boomer, I came from a large family, and not just brothers and sisters. I had tons of cousins. My siblings and my cousins and I used to love to walk up the old trail, a mile past the old woman's house, and play in the woods. There were streams up there where we'd catch crawfish and frogs. We would build forts. We did so many fun, healthy things that I think is sad the young kids these days don't do because they're too busy playing on all their electronics. Yeah, truth bomb right there. When the elderberries would ripen toward the end of the summer and we'd be heading up the road to go up the trail and into the woods, Miss Emma would see us and come back and ask us if we'd pick her some elderberries while we were in the woods. The first time she asked, she told us she'd bake us an elderberry cobbler. We told her we would, and we did. And when we took them to her that afternoon, she told us to come back any time the next day and she'd have our cobbler for us. The following morning, as we passed her house, sure enough, she had a cobbler sitting on her front steps, and it was delicious. It never made it home. Us kids ate it in the woods. This went on for a few summers until, sadly, Miss Emma passed away. Fast forward about 10 years, I was in college, and I'd taken a boy home with me to meet my parents because I felt that he was the one. There's footsteps. Watch for movement. Watch for movement back there, folks. Timestamp it if you see it. Okay, so she took a boy home because she felt that he was the one. Turned out he was the one, and we spent more than 40 years together before cancer took him from me. Sorry about that. Glad for the time you had together. Anyway, he and I walked up the old trail. The fall semester had just started, and there were still quite a few elderberries on the bushes. We picked some and ate them and bagged a few up to take home. As we passed Miss Emma's old house, which was nearly falling in by this time, either out of habit or reminiscence sake, I lay a bag of the elderberries on her front steps. Kevin, the next morning, my boyfriend and I went out for a morning walk, and lo and behold, there was a freshly baked elderberry cobbler on that porch. I was convinced that one of my cousins was playing a prank on me. When I saw my cousin Sarah later that day, I asked her if it was her, and I could see her flesh break out in goosebumps, and she couldn't speak for half a minute. This frightened me more than if she had claimed it wasn't her, and that she had no idea what I was talking about. What was so scary was that she knew exactly what I was talking about, because when she finally spoke, she said, "OMG, that's happened to me too." Now, she probably said, "Oh my God." I don't think the boomers used the, this false language that millennials created when technology took over the humans. Didn't really take over the humans, it just disconnected us and dumbed us down and all kinds of stuff. As it turns out, after talking with several of my cousins, I found out that it had happened to several of them. Kevin, this went on for years. When I would go home to see my folks, I would pick enough elderberries up that trail to make a cobbler, and I would leave them at Miss Emma's house. And the next morning I would go back, and there would be a freshly baked elderberry cobbler on the steps. Some of my male cousins have done this, and they would actually camp out all night in front of the old house, and they would report seeing no one throughout the night. But sure enough, the next morning the cobbler was there. It's been 30 years since I've been back. I live in Georgia now, and with my parents long gone and most of my family either dead or moved elsewhere, I have no reason to go back to my old home place. But I do find myself wondering during the dog days of summer, when I know the elderberries are ripe, just what might happen if I were to go back and pick a mess of elderberries and put them on Miss Emma's porch. But I believe I already know the answer. Thanks for letting me share this story with you, Kevin. I hope your viewers like it and you choose to share it with them. The end. So did you guys see anything moving back there? It's Cardinal over there. So if you've got any creepy experiences that you believe to be paranormal, supernatural related, anything related to cryptids, that Cardinal's going to give me a heart attack, I swear. I keep thinking it's a cryptid or something coming up on me in the woods. Submit them to the channel. The email address is crazylake@mail.com. crazylake@mail.com. Give us your permission to use your story and we'll read it on the channel, put it in an upcoming edition of True Hauntings or both, okay? And October night is upon me here, so I'm heading to the house. See y'all for more next time.